Did Monarch set Datadol up to become a powerhouse and we just all missed it? No. No. The end. What? What do you want? Kidding. Of course I'm kidding. Duh. But anyway, Joe, Decks and Drafts. I figured I'd start off a new series, something I've been wanting to do for a while, called Brew, and a Brew. So, in Brew and a Brew today, we're going to talk about, I'm such a sucker for trying to figure out a deck. And Datadol is, well, she's one you kind of got to figure out. I don't think she's even close. But she's often overlooked because that 3 hand size, that 1 reduction hand size is killer. And yeah, she's been a little bit of a struggle, but I do think that Monarch gave some help, and I've been trying her out a little bit, and I learned a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys. So let's try to brew a little bit of Datadol. Really quick though, before we do that, the other brew, the last box opening, the Victor barrel-aged Imperial Oatmeal Milk Stout. Barrel-aged Imperial Oatmeal Milk Stout. Yes, from Finkel and Garf, not to be confused with Finkel and Einhorn. Because that's just bad. But yeah, for some reason, at 85-degree weather on a Sunday, I'm just rocking a 12.2% in my Golden Yeti Great Divide glass. Yeah. Love this glass. This was a really fun day. Good lord. That is just dark. Dark and saucy. Yeah, sorry, I'm going a little slow on this. There we go. There we go. Woo! Oh, I'm glad I'm not drinking this outside. Anyway, let's talk a little bit of Datadol. I'll show you the deck that I built. I'll show you some of the stuff that I was trying, and kind of where I've landed, and show off a few of the things in Monarch that I think really do help her quite a bit. So if you are dabbling in Datadol, I'm really trying to figure her out, and I'm not that great a player, so I could really use your help. Feel free to post in the comments down below, of course, but in the meantime, let's flip over to the other camera, and I'll show you what I got. All right, first things first. Let's talk about Datadol directly. And actually, I'm going to zoom. Let's zoom in. There we go. You've all seen the Riftbind. It's great. It's wonderful. Anyway, so what is Datadol trying to do? First things first, she's Blitz only. That's important. Whenever a Mechanologist item with cost 2 or less is put into your banish zone from your deck, put it into the arena. So the idea with her is that you're using things like the Teklo Foundry Heart and all of the boosts to get cards that are on top of the deck and play them for free. And that's kind of how she balances out having less of a hand size, is she literally gains basically 2 cards every time her effect pops. Whatever you use to pitch plus the item in your hand. That's pretty solid. It's like you had 5 cards in your hand. But you know, you don't. You have 3 and you still need to make her work. And that's where she becomes a challenge. That 3 card hand size is really limiting because the second you defend, all you have left is a card to pitch and a card to play, maybe. You know, assuming, you know, it kind of depends on how much you pitch for. So part of what you're trying to accomplish is you're trying to get out items that really let just work on the board. Sorry, I don't have the greatest glare here. So, for example, things like Induction Chamber, and actually I'll go ahead and show off the weapon just to start that off. Using the Plasma Pistol, there is the Barrel Shot. You can't get enough boost. With 3 cards in hand, you cannot boost so many times that things like Maximum Velocity and all that, it just doesn't work. I just don't like it at all. So what you're really trying to do is to turn this thing into a powerhouse of a machine gun. Plasma Pistol. As an action, put a steam remove a steam counter to attack, and then you can pay a resource to put a steam counter on it. With cards like the Induction Chamber, as a reaction, you can give your pistol go again. So I spend 1 to put a counter on it, I swing with the pistol, I give it go again, I put a counter on it, I swing with the pistol, and we just do that over and over. Having 2 lets you do this 3 times. What adds to the fun is the Plasma Purifier. As an action, for a resource, I can put a steam counter on this, and then once per turn, I can remove a counter to give a pistol plus 1 attack. So now this is attacking for 3, once, twice, 3 times. With a second Plasma Purifier, it's attacking 3 times for 4. And that's spicy, and all that requires is basically the cards to load up the thing with steam counters. And that's not half bad. That's really not. If these are loaded up, if you spent a turn loading up all of your items, really you just need a pitch cost of 3, and you can swing for 12 with 1 card in your hand, and that's just using 1 card in your hand. That's pretty spicy. That is pretty spicy, especially when you don't have a lot of cards to begin with in your hand. Being able to get that kind of efficiency from 1 card is super useful. The rest of the deck is just, well, let's try to save her ass. So this is kind of the engine that I'm trying to build towards. I found that things like Throttle and all that stuff just, they're just not great. So anyway, let me show you the deck in all of its glory really quick. We'll start with the equipment. Data doll, duh. Pistol, I don't even waste my time with the plasma barrel shot. I just don't. Tekla Foundry Heart, it is an absolute staple. I don't necessarily like when a legendary has to be kind of the staple of the deck, but it really makes this deck work. It is hard to find something else that even comes close to replacing it. I got my hands on the Vizzy model, and actually, I'm so sorry. Tekla Foundry Heart, for those who don't know. If I have boosted this turn, so the cards that give boost, I can spend 1 resource, banish the top 2 cards of the deck, and I gain a resource for each Mechanologist card that was banished in this way. And then I get to go again. I care less about the resources more than I care about trying to put, my items on top. So, hey, I'm going to spend 1 to banish. I banish. I get 2 resources, and these come into play for free. That's not bad. That's a pretty solid turn. That's pretty nuts. And that's how I get tempo, ideally. So Tekla Foundry Heart, super useful. I got myself the Vizzy as well. As an action, I can destroy the Vizzy, the Visitronic Model I. Whenever you boost this turn, draw a card and put a card from your hand on top of your deck. Wonderful card if I'm doing kind of multiple boosts. So it's, hey, I've got, let's just put some things into my hand really quick. So I say, okay, I'm going to play I play a high-speed impact. I'm going to draw a card, and then I'm going to put this Dissipation Shield on top of the deck. We'll boost, and then I'll draw a card and put it on top of the deck. Then I'll play high-speed impact, and I'll boost that also, and I get to play that for free. I've basically set Data Doll up for success using the using Model I. I haven't convinced myself entirely that that's the smartest way to go. So complementing that is the Talismanic Lens. Simply being able to opt to look on top, say, all right, let's get an item on top because I know I'm going to boost this turn. I'm not sure which one I like more. This one also does have Arcane Barrier. That can also be a pretty big thing. So I'm still playing around with that. Still teasing that. Achilles Accelerator. Gain an action point if I've boosted this turn. That's just good. And it has an Arcane Barrier. I don't even know what else I would replace it with. Like, what, Snapdragon Scalers? It does the same thing, but worse. Cool. That's fine. That's fine. The only downside is that this is a matter of boosting, but chances are, I'm still going to boost. The nice thing about boost is even if you whiff, you've still technically boosted. It just wasn't successful. So I can still crack this. As far as the hands go, so we've got, here's what we got. Ba-doom. Ba-doom. Pistol. Okay, maybe I do need to back up. Back up! Sorry, I'm learning this. It's my first try. So that's what we have going on. Chest piece, foot, head. You get some options with the gloves, and naturally you've probably noticed that this is only 9. I don't know what to do that with the other 2. I'm not gonna lie. Goliath Gauntlet. I'll show you why Goliath Gauntlet could be fun in just a bit. Give an action card of cost 2 or greater, +2. Also, Stubby Hammers, the literal opposite direction. Data Doll kind of plays, she goes both ways. Again, I'll explain why. Bracers of Belief, I don't entirely like this. I almost like it just for the opt. Reveal the top card of the deck. Next action gets +X, where X is 3 minus the pitch value of the card I revealed. this is going to suck more often than not, but it is an opportunity to simply opt the top card of the deck. Or at least reveal. It's not really an opt because I can't move it to the bottom. But I can, again, kind of plan and set myself up for success. And for the lulz, Iron Knot Gauntlet, I guess. I don't know. I don't exactly have good answers here. So that's my sweets. Really, I'm really trying to make these things work. Set Data Doll up for success. Now, the challenge that I had when I was trying this is that I was trying to get this engine out, this thing, this nonsense that I can no longer find. There it is. I spent half the game trying to get this out as quick as humanly possible. I'm going to move these out of the way. I was really trying to get this out as fast as I could. So I had cards like Whisper of the Oracle in there. Like I'm just going opt crazy to try to get these to happen. And the struggle that I had is that if RNGesus put these cards on the bottom, I spent the whole game doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then I still have to pay 4 to actually use all of these in one turn. Like, I'm just getting slaughtered with this. And that, I lost too much ground. So I didn't want to, I turned away from how fast can we get these things going and more into, is there a balance that we can find where I can still be aggressive and then lead up to this nonsense? And this is almost kind of my end game. And the beginning and middle game is really just kind of to stall a little bit. And I'll show you what I've got going on with that. So anyway, here's the rest of the deck. Naturally, we've got these guys. 2 times Plasma, 2 times Induction. For the rest of the items, Dissipation Shield. 2 of those, absolutely. One of the best cards for her because I don't have to pitch a card to defend anymore. That's huge. That's huge for her. This will prevent at least 4 damage, and it whittles down. Optical Monocle. I know I said I didn't care too much about opting, but with both of these out, I get to opt 10 cards. That's not bad. If I can set her up for success for basically free, that's awesome. And if worse comes to worse, I've got to pitch for 3. I can't complain. Let me move this down a little bit. That's solid. Last of the items, Hyperdriver. Every time you boost, get a resource. Anything that I can do to be a little efficient here. It's basically what we're doing. Being efficient. That's the item suite. There are a lot of items that are missing, but really, I'm trying to just get to this point. Everything else just helps. And the attacks, well, let's talk about those. 0 to 60, the full suite. Of course. It's free. It allows me to boost. In order to use her effect, I basically have to be boosting. So of course, I'm gonna go 0 to 60. It's 0 cost. Lets me banish something. It's perfect. It's wonderful. Zipper Hit. Also the full suite of Zipper Hit. Now, the thing that I'm going to point out, especially as we start looking at the rest of these, is I'm not as reliant on reds. I actually took out a lot of red from my initial build. The first build was actually trying to do pummel, things like throttle and pummel, so I can hit for 10 and make you discard, and just like that, you have the same problem that I have, where you are down a card. Problem is this costs 4 to play. I have got 3 cards in hand, and I got to use these 2, assuming one of them isn't in the arsenal. There's no way this works. That was just bad. Data Doll Tall is Data Doll Dumb. Just no. Wasn't good. Was not good at all. So Zipper Hits. Reason I like Zipper Hits, they only cost 1. So in my pitching for 1, there we go. I get to do a little bit of damage. 3, 4, 5. But the other 2, like if I've got a bunch of blues and I'm pitching a lot of blues, there is a decent amount of blues in this deck. If I'm pitching blues, then the other 2 can be used to load up my my induction chamber, my pistol, get a couple shots off, and that's how I'm gonna go. So I'm trying to keep it as cheap as I can. High speed impact. Why high speed impact? Well, it's another attack that costs 1. That's my logic. That's really a big chunk of my logic. Next attack that I boost this combat chain gets Dominate. I care less about that and more about, well, that it costs 1. Why do I only have 1 red and 2 yellows? Well, the yellows are 3 attack, and that's going to make sense here in just a sec. I've got some surprises at the end. Pedal to the Metal. it's just another attack. This one I specifically like because your next attack this turn gains Dominate, not necessarily one that you boost. So if I do have my pistol loaded to go 4, it's 4 with Dominate. I'm gonna get some shots in. And also, you know, it's, you know, I'm a fan of it. Again, I kept out of red. This is intentional. I've kept out of red for much of this. I want Data Doll to be able to do 1 or 2 things with 1 card of pitch. Having red doesn't really help with that. 2 throttles. Just to get some extra stuff in. You know, I'm gonna need the cards that I need to boost with. This is kind of what I'm stuck with. But also I've got 2 blues. If I had 2 high-speed impacts, I would probably do that instead of these. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't have those cards. So 2 blue throttles. I'm probably, if I need to use these to attack, I will. But I'm really gonna use them for their pitch value. Same thing with Overloop. Really gonna likely use it for its pitch value. So 2 blues. But if I need to, I can attack, and I'll be in a decent spot. So that's the attack suite. These are the attack suites. So, you know, we're sitting pretty decent. Again, lots of blue, 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 blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blues that I'm sitting on with just the attacks. Not even introducing what we have over here. And that's very intentional. I want to be able to do 3 things, or multiple things. Pitch for 3. Chances are I'll use the Foundry Heart to boost, so I might get 4 or 5 I'll probably get 4 net resources, if not at least 3 net resources, as well as being able to play a card, as well as possibly being able to use her effect. So I'm trying to find efficiency. I like using blues, and a lot less red. I almost care less about the fact these won't hit as much, because if I'm trying to feed this engine towards the end, if this is really what I'm doing, then I'm really just using this to kind of build this up as best as I can. I don't care if 0 to 60 doesn't hit. I get to go again no matter what. That's the point. And if it doesn't hit, you got a card out of your hand, and then you got to deal with the next thing that I have. I am not terribly worried about this, this hitting. I don't see her being like a chip shot kind of thing with the attacks. As far as the nons, starting out with Remembrance, I just have 1. It's great to be able to get things like the Dissipation Shields back into the deck. I haven't completely committed to this, just because it is kind of a middle game, end game kind of card. So I'm not committed, but I'm trying it out right now. Because I have an Eye. I have an Eye of Ophidia. I traded a Valiant Dynamo for it, and I'm very happy with that. But being able to pitch for 3 and opt 2, absolutely for Data Doll. Abso-freaking-lutely. Whenever the heck I can opt, I'm going to do it. And I get to pitch for 3 in the process. That's freaking killer. You'll probably also notice, what in the world are you doing putting an Eye in a deck? You're going to shuffle that in? Yes, I am, because I'm playing and I'm trying to figure her out, and shut up. There you go. That's my logic. All right, here's where it gets spicy. I'm still going to put that off to the side. Let's get a little spicy. Let's throw some nonsense into this. Belittle. That's right. Belittle. From Monarch. As an additional cost to play Belittle, you may reveal an attack action card with 3 or less base attack from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a card named Minnowism, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. I love this card. I love this card in Data Doll because my challenge with Data Doll is she doesn't have cards in her deck, or she doesn't have cards in her hand. You're telling me that I get to attack and then go put a card in my hand from the deck? Abso-freaking-lutely I'm going to do that. Especially if I'm pitching for 3, and, you know, I put a bunch of blues. Why did I put a bunch of blues? For Belittle. 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. That's 4. Screw you guys. High speed impacts. 3, 3. So, you know, 0 to 60, yellow, 3, 3. So, like, there's like 14 attacks that are 3 on top of the Belittles. Chances are I'm going to be able to pull that off. So pitch something for 3, play Belittle, and I'm going to get a Minnowism. What Minnowism am I going to get? I don't want to play Minnowism. I'm not going to use Minnowism. I'm going to pitch Minnowism because I'm going to use the blues. So I'm going to go find Minnowism in the deck, put it in my hand, so I thin the deck to begin with, and I get a free blue pitch in my hand? Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely I'm going to do that. I am all about that. I'm excited to try this combo and see how it really works. Just because it's the only one that really does that, where I get to go search and tutor and put something in my hand. And I'm literally, I have zero desire to actually play Minnowism to get the +1. I don't care. I just want to pitch. I'm just going to pitch. And then it goes to the bottom of the deck. So I get to use these 4 times. Minimum, assuming that I don't remembrance them for some weird reason. And then lastly, Nourishing Emptiness. I had originally thought about Pursuit of Knowledge. The thing is that this is 2. This is going to be one of those where I don't plan on like pitching this if I don't have anything else to do. Like I want to play this card. I want to get my +1. It swings for 6, so the likelihood it's going to hit is much better. It's kind of maybe like one of the only reasons I really have the Goliath Gauntlet in the deck is to try to get this to hit. And I get the +1 into my hand. If I get this at the very beginning, it could very well get Dominate. That's wonderful. That's a great start. Pursuit of Knowledge, I mean, I like the effect, but that blue, it's either I'm going to swing with it to try to get the hand size, or I'm going to pitch it. And both are decent options. This just might not hit. This is just less of a chance of it really hitting. So I'm not entirely digging that. I'm struggling with that one. So yeah, I've swapped this out for Nourishing Emptiness. We're gonna see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Some cards that I have considered. And that's my deck, basically. And I'll split all this thing up here in just a sec. But 2 cards that I've considered. Also, Rise Above, I think does a lot of good. As a defense reaction, put a card from your hand on top of your deck rather than pay Rise Above's cost. Well, absolutely, if I'm stuck with, you know, I draw a Plasma Purifier, I am so happy to play Rise Above for free and put the Purifier on top of the deck so I can boost it next turn. Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm just not quite sure where I'm fitting this one right now. Same idea, Seek Horizon. Seek Horizon, as an additional cost, I can put a card from the hand on top of the deck. If I do, Seek Horizon gets go again. Oh, you mean I'm stuck with this thing? Absolutely, I want to put it on top of the deck. The problem I have with Seek Horizon is I have to also be able to boost. I have to do something that can boost. So I really need the hand that lets me play this, lets me play something else, and then if I have to pitch for it, the card that I'm going to pitch for it. I don't see that happening often enough, which is why I took out Seek Horizon from this, and I wasn't quite convinced. Rise Above might still find a place in the deck. I haven't entirely decided. I'm still playing around with that. But that's why I'm doing this, because, hey, maybe we can help each other out, you guys. That's the point of this. So, end of the day, here's what we got. I just like looking at it. So, here's my items. Let's pull this up. Pull this up. Boom. Sorry for the glare. I can't get around all that. Dissipations, Optical, Hyperdriver. There's my item suite. Is it a ton for Data Doll? No, but things like, sorry. I looked at things like Convection Amplifier. Meh, I don't really care about Dominate. Most of my stuff is hitting for 2, 3. You only really need 1 card. So why? So just the stuff that really helps out, saves my ass, helps me build this engine, helps me build this engine a little bit more. That's all I need. That's it. Everything else is just, neat, I made Data Doll's effect happen. Doesn't mean you made Data Doll work, just means you made the effect happen. So there are a lot of items I looked at and was like, I don't really need. I thought about like Teklavassen's Workshop also, but again, I'm not boosting too many times a turn. That's the problem. I only really get like maybe 1 or 2 boosts per turn. That's just, Data Doll's got to do, she doesn't have a ton of options there. So that's my item suite. Boom, boom. For attacks, like I said, a lot of blue. Lot of blue, lot of blue, lot of blue, lot of blue. Half the time, I'm not entirely looking at attacking with them if I can avoid it. I am really just going to be pitching those, and at the end, I can swing with them at that point. A little bit of red to keep the pressure going, or a little bit of yellow and red to keep the pressure going, though. Like I said, I tried focusing on this engine, these two, and getting that out, and I just never was able to apply any pressure. And and that became more of a struggle than I wanted it to be. So yeah, I got my engine out, but I was down to like 10 health, 8 health. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I do have a decent amount of yellow and some red in there just to kind of keep the issues going. I don't have any red that is very high cost because I still want to try to load these things up if I can. That is more important to me. Getting her to go wider is more important than I hit throttle for 2. I get pitch 2 for throttle. It hits for 6. So freaking what? I would rather hit you twice with a 4 and a 3. That seems better. And then there's Belittle, which is just cute. Belittle, Nourishing Emptiness. Oh, let's get this Belittle over here. Nourishing Emptiness, which is a good little 6. And then some pitch fodder and some do things fodder. Minnowism really is there just for the pitch. Remembrance there is probably going to get things back like the dissipation shields and whatnot. There is a little concern on how much generic that I currently have. I'm still playing around with that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. That's a little spicy. That runs a decent risk of running out, hitting whiffing on a boost a couple of times. That's happened to me in some tests. So this might get cut back a little bit, but I really want to try this Belittle Minnowism thing. And we'll see how that goes. Sorry, there we go. I use my hand to block. And that's the deck. That's what we're trying out. It has been doing a heck of a lot better than the other stuff that I was trying where I was trying to go tall. This has been so good. And then I'm just kind of dealing with a little bit of RNGesus. And, I'd rather RNGesus be the thing that screws me over than Data Doll, even at her best, just failing miserably. And I think that I've solved at least that part. So maybe there's opportunities for more opt. Maybe maybe I do stick in some of the rise aboves and go that way. The other thing I'm starting to learn about Data Doll is trying to do a ton every turn is a bad idea. And I'm still kind of practicing that a little bit. There are some turns where I was like, okay, I really do need to set up, and that feels bad because I'm giving the opponent all the cards in his hand, and I've only got 3 to block with, and that could really slow me down. But if I only really need to have 1 card for pitch in my hand to do a bunch of things on the table, that kind of evens itself out. It's almost kind of like a Bravo thing, where one turn I'm going to let you try to pick yourself back up, and that's going to be the turn I set up, and then I'm going to hit you really hard again. That's kind of how Data Doll seems to operate. She just doesn't have any cards that really help that flavor. You're just kind of hoping. So, I don't know. That's what I'm playing around with. This is how we're going. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, I know that when I do some games with people, I will absolutely be trying out the Data Doll deck. So hopefully you guys will see that soon enough. Life has been a little bit busy for me. But that's what we got. I will post this on FabDB as well, and I'll put a link in the comments so that way you guys can take a look at it. And let me know what you think, and let me know what you're trying out with Data Doll. I think it'd be a lot of fun to try to figure her out. I don't think she's terrible. She's just really tricky, which is kind of how this game works anyway. And with that being said, I'm also trying to figure out Azalea. So yeah, that's my MO here, guys. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. I still got half this beer left. I'm not gonna, you don't have to listen to me drink that. Got the Avalanche game coming up soon anyway. So anyway, thanks so much for listening. And yeah, let's figure her out. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed Brewing a Brew. Leave me some feedback. Bye, all.